movie, believe it or not, I don't need to know that much about the wolf fucking. Alright, hey guys, just by myself today. A few reasons for that. One, I don't know what's going on right now, but everyone's just really fucking busy. I guess just that time of year, getting close to the holidays. Second of all, the reason there has been a new video of in a few days is because I've been sick with the flu. So this is also a little bit of everyone's busy and also a little bit of self-contained quarantine as much as humanly possible while still having to do my unpaid third job. So yeah, if I seem a little out of it or I'm all over the place today more than usual, that's why. I'm still kind of recovering. Most of it's out of my system, but I can still feel it in me a bit, and I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm a little woozy. So that being said, I just got out of Bad Times, the Royale, which we've actually been looking forward to for a while. It's directed by Drew Goddard, who did like Cabin in the Woods, and I believe the first season of Daredevil. And it shows because the movie is really well directed, and there's a lot of positives to talk about. It's a good movie. It should have been great, but it has a serious pacing issue, and that's what really kind of drags it back. And I'll go into details why here. Fuck. So, for those who don't know what this movie is, or you haven't heard for whatever reason, Bad Times, the Royale is a movie that takes place, I believe, in like the 70s or 80s, where a bunch of random people end up in this middle of nowhere hotel that's in between, like that's right on the border between California and Nevada, called the Royale. And shenanigans happen, guns get fired, fires go off, Chris Hemsworth shows up half naked for some reason. Although I doubt anyone watching is gonna be like complaining like I'm straight. And I was like, oh goddamn, okay, good for you. Chris Hemsworth knows how to rock it. He's got like the 70s hipster, like weird handlebar mustache thing going for him. But he kind of makes it work. It's weird. So anyway, and as an all-star cast, as Jeff Bridges is Nick Offerman's in this briefly, I should say. Like, don't get too excited if you hear Nick Offerman's in this. He's in there for like a minute, which kind of made me wonder what was even the point of having him in it to begin with. It also has oh fuck, I'm blanking on his name. Mad Men guy. Also has Dakota Fanning, who I still think is a good actress despite the 50 Shades movies. It's not fair to judge anyone for that. John Hamm is the only one I'm thinking of who's in this movie. And Cynthia Erivo, who I'm not too familiar with her work, but she's really damn good in this. So let me get into the positives first before I really get into the issues I have with this movie. Oh, apparently Cynthia Erivo is fairly newcomer. She's just kind of getting on the scene as of a couple years ago. So good for her. She's already making like second billing. So yeah, damn good job. So first off, this movie is very meticulous. You can tell this is a passion project. You can tell it's something. I don't think, as far as to my knowledge, I don't think this is based on anything. This is a pre-original work. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And it definitely has that feel to it. It definitely feels like it's absolutely 100% taken inspiration from like Tarantino. It feels like it's drawing from, especially his most recent work, The Hateful Eight. It definitely feels like it's taken a lot from The Hateful Eight, mixed in with some. Actually, it's pretty much Hateful Eight, but in the 70s, kind of. Complete with over-the-top characters, over-the-top accents who turn out that's not who they actually are, and there's all this kind of crisscrosses and double turns and shock twists and this and that, like who dies suddenly, who doesn't, who makes it to the end, who doesn't, that kind of stuff. And all those kind of twists and turns. It's very much, and it also has like the chapter formats that the Hateful Eight did too, like chapter 1, or in this case like room 7 or room 3 or wherever we want to take place in. And but it does do something that I don't think Hateful Eight did that much, except for what happened, I think, towards the third act of that movie. I don't need to know about that right now, Gmail. Thank God. Fuck off. Where it keeps cutting back from. Let's get into the pacing issues. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's a whole other topic on its own. Again, I'm a little stuffy again. I apologize if I seem like I'm rambling again more than usual. I'm gonna try to stay as coherent as possible, but I need food soon, so this probably made a relatively short review. Well, short for me anyway, I should say. So, yeah. So the way, and Drew Goddard has a great eye for cinematography and set design and just general choreography. So like the movie looks phenomenal. Like the cinematography is amazing. The shots are beautiful. The way everything's set up, the aesthetics look fantastic. This is a gorgeous looking movie, and it's a very character driven movie. This is definitely an ensemble piece movie, and everyone does a great job. Cynthia Erivo, God damn it, I'm gonna get her name right. No, I was right. Cynthia Erivo, it does an amazing job. She is a phenomenal talent. Definitely gonna look and see what she does in the future. She plays a singer who gets to the hotel on a way to kind of a shitty gig in Reno, but it's the only thing she has right now. So she's kind of down on her luck, singer kind of person who just gets caught up with all these horrible people. Horrible people. She's the most innocent of the group. Let's put it that way. Without giving too much away, because I still recommend this movie. I would say it's like a solid matinee. But it should have been better, but I'll get to the reason why in a minute. And again, I don't really know how much I'm giving away, because a lot of it was kind of spoiled in the trailer, which is something else I'll talk about in a bit, too. That being said, even if I didn't see the trailer, I feel like I probably still figured out most of what was going to happen in this movie anyway, so I don't really know how much the trailer is really to blame for giving away some of the big twists of the film. Although I take that back, so the way some characters die, I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But yeah, so Cynthia Erivo is amazing in this movie. She's great. Jeff Bridges, I love Jeff Bridges to death. He's in top form in this movie. He's definitely trying, like, this is not a sleeper role for Jeff Bridges. He really is trying fucking hard in this, and it fucking shows. There's a scene towards the middle, where he and Cynthia Erivo kind of form a connection over time. Through various circumstances, like Jeff Bridges, which is given away in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything, is a bank robber, or like just a thief who is disguised himself as a priest to get loot that is buried in the hotel. But he happens to think that it's in Cynthia Erivo's room, so he's kind of trying to talk smooth there, trying to trick her into leaving her room long enough for him to look. But they end up forming a real good connection. They have great chemistry together, and they work really well off each other. But there's this great scene where it kind of goes on spoiler territory, so I'm not gonna say exactly what the context is. But Drew Goddard knows how to shoot people, and he knows how to work the camera. So the camera work in this movie is beyond amazing. The camera work is fantastic, very deliberate, very meticulous. It's so carefully well shot, and I do respect on the technical side. This movie is amazing. But anyway, so it's just a mid shot of it's just a frontal shot of Jeff Bridges looking at the camera, and he's explaining this kind of personal, tragic element to himself, about himself to somebody, and the way he does it, he sells it so damn well, and it's Jeff Bridges in top form, and he fucking sells it. It's a phenomenal scene, and he has a few of those throughout the movie. God damn it, Jeff Bridges doesn't get enough credit anymore. He really doesn't. He really is just he is a national treasure. I love Jeff Bridges. Anyway, John Hamm, to give full credit, is really good in this movie, too. He is having so much fun. Because he introduces himself as, like, this over-the-top, like, southern salesman. So he's talking like this, talking super fast. Hello there, my name is John Hamm. I have my business card here. There you go. Now, would you dial into like a drink of coffee? He's that kind of over-the-top salesman, but there's more to him than meets the eye. So, like, from that element, from the kind of like, ooh, what's this person's story? What's this person's secret? This movie can be a lot of fun. And again, it's just really fun to look at, and it has, like, the first act is really good at making this, like, oh, and I forgot about Dakota Fanning. Not Dakota Fanning, Dakota Johnson. Is Dakota Fanning or Dakota Johnson? Hold on. I might just cut around this for the sake of... I apologize, everyone, for not doing my homework before I got in here. But then again, if you're watching my show, you should be surprised by that. Yeah, Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson. She's kind of the one that's just kind of there. She is an important part of the story, and it does definitely drive things to the final act. The final act I actually did really like, but compared to the other actors and actresses, she's kind of like, she was the weak link. I think she isn't as given much to do either, to be fair. So take what you can get there. Chris Hemsworth is another one. He plays the villain. I mean, I'm not giving anything away. It's in the trailer, and he's having a ton of fucking fun. And again, he and Cynthia Erivo has amazing little back and forth scene towards the end, and I don't think I'm gonna give too much away, where he ends up coming in there and people get kidnapped and tied up and stuff, and shit happens, and Cynthia Erivo just like has the balls to stare Chris Hemsworth like dead in the eye and just call him out his bullshit and just shuts his ass up, and it's a really satisfying scene. So like this is definitely a very character-driven movie, and from that aspect it works. And like I don't think there's any individual scene that doesn't work on some level. Again, it's really well shot, it's really well acted, it's really well written. All that stuff works great. But here's what stops, and it's like everything I'm describing, it should be like a great movie. I should be really like saying like, oh my god, go see this. But it has one huge problem, and that's really what drags it back, and that's the pacing and the structure of the film. And those are two really big important parts. And again, it's also a tricky business because I don't know how you would rearrange it to make it work without giving a plot elements away from the future. That being said, you can kind of see what's coming anyway, so I don't really know how much you'd be sacrificing. This movie absolutely does want to be like a mystery movie, but it's keeping things mystery. I don't think you really need to keep that much of a mystery, because like Chris Hemsworth's character is like blocked by the sun when he first appears in the movie, and then he shows up in the bright sun later. But I just really feel like not much of a reveal, because everyone who sees this movie sees that Chris Hemsworth's name is on the poster and he's in the trailer, and you know they were going to give him top billing for this movie. So I don't really know why you'd keep his reveal that much of a secret when the minute he's on screen, it's like, oh, that's Chris Hemsworth. It's obviously Chris Hemsworth. We all know what he looks like. We all know what he sounds like by now. That's Chris Hemsworth. You're not fooling anybody. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the big thing this movie does is it keeps cutting back. Every time like a new chapter of this movie starts, it usually has a flashback about the character it's talking about in that particular chapter. So like, if the chapter is titled after Jeff Bridges' room, it'll be about like a bit of his backstory and what he's looking for. It's about Cynthia Erivo's character, maybe like her character and her background and how she got where she is. Or like if it cuts back to her, it's like, what was she doing when this particular event happened? And it works fine the first act, when it's largely just establishing who the characters are, what their deal is. All that stuff is fine. It works fine the first act. But it wears out its welcome fast when, especially a movie like this, which is definitely trying to be a slow burn thriller, or it's really important to keep up the momentum, you know? It's like, once you have everything set up, like, okay, good, all the pieces are set. Now let's just build it up. Let's just build, and you want that tension to be super, super tight before you let it all explode in the finale. The problem is, every time it cuts to a new chapter and another new flashback, and they happen a lot in this movie, the movie has to stop dead in its tracks. Like, and I mean dead. Like, you'd be like, oh my god, this is a really intense scene, I'm really into this. And then it'll just, like, cut to a flashback, this one character's backstory, I'm like, no! And then you have to, like, and then the movie feels like, okay, you get all that, we caught you up, okay, now let's get back to the scene beforehand. But by then, a lot of momentum is already gone. So it's kind of like, damn it, now you gotta rebuild all that again. Perfect example, towards the finale, and again, I'm gonna try to say it without giving too much away. There's this one character who isn't in any of the trailers, who has his own kind of arc thing going on with looking for redemption and all that stuff, again, without giving too much away. And then, right in the climax of the movie, Chris Hemsworth is, like, battling somebody, and there's all these kind of fight things going on. And then it cuts over to him, and then he kind of, like, confesses, like, what he did, and then it cuts to a flashback of that. The movie stops in its tracks in the climax of the movie to give you this guy's backstory. Like, this should have been done, like, 2 acts ago. And I get why they waited. They want to keep, like, they want to build the mystery. They want to build the suspense, but they want to build this and that. But it's like, but at the same time, like, to stop the movie dead. To do that just feel like such a poor decision. And again, I get the intention. I get why it was done, but the execution leaves a lot to be desired, because it's so out of nowhere. Where it's like, okay, now we're in this flashback. Now it's the most obstructive example. But it does do the best to illustrate the point I'm trying to make, in that I feel like a lot of these flashbacks and all these character backgrounds should have been done in Act 1. Like, if you're gonna do that, get it all done at once, get it out of the way, and I feel like that serves the movie better in general. Just like, get all your pieces set up, and then like, you know, I know they want to save the surprises, but it's like, no, just show all the pieces there and then show how they come together. And I feel like they did that, it would have been a tighter and more cohesive film. But this also feels like a movie that didn't really know what to cut. And I get it, because these are some really good scenes, and they're really well-acted scenes. But yeah, all those flashbacks and the kind of the random order in which they appear definitely interrupts the narrative way more than it should. And honestly, I got to the point where I was like, I don't even think you really need a lot of these. And I get they want to keep them in, especially since I can tell this is a Drew Goddard passion project. And I get, like, as a passion project, making cuts is really hard. But I feel like, you know, it would have been great if we never really actually knew any of these characters' full backstory. Like, what if we didn't know any of these people's deal? We just had to pick it up from the scenario, from the hints given in the actual character's dialogue and the story. Like, that would have been a really good, that would have been a solid, tight hour and 45 minutes where you're just kind of saying, like, well, what was that guy's deal with it? Like, you can get all these kind of fun theories about that. And granted, this is me like kind of trying to imagine the movie I would want them to make, but would have actually made. So I'm not going to harp too much on that for not doing my particular vision of it. But it's like, if you're going to keep the flashbacks in there, do it earlier. Yeah, you ruin some of the surprise and a lot of the mystery early on, but at the same time, it also sets the stage for what comes later on, and it doesn't interrupt the action. It lets the tension build. That's what a good thriller does. And I would say it's still a good thriller. But yeah, that pacing issue really just slows it down to that, and it makes it drag, man. And I feel bad that it drags like that, because I really want to love this movie, because this is so my kind of movie. A simple movie in a single location with a bunch of larger-than-life characters that get caught in a crazy scenario. It's the exact reason I love The Hateful Eight, and that was also incredibly self-indulgent. But that had a more clear narrative. So, and it didn't, like, it only used, like, one flashback. It used that trick once. But this, The Hateful Eight compared to this movie used it once, and it only used it when it was necessary at that point. To explain the context. And it did it after a point where we kind of need a breather anyway. So it didn't destroy the flow of the film to get that background in there. This one it kind of does. Destroy might be a harsh word, but it definitely interrupts it enough that it feels like, oh great, now I gotta rebuild all the tension that is building for the past, like, 20 minutes. And the movie has really, really good tension, and has really well choreographed scenes. And so every time it kept getting interrupted, like, God fucking damn it, just let it play out! Because I want to know what happens next. I don't like that I'm being interrupted right now. These are not good parts to interrupt. This is when the good stuff starts. But, so, like, I feel like I would love to see, like, an edited version of this, where someone just, like, rearranges all the events, to make it, to just make the flow better. And, yeah, that's really what stops it from being a great movie, in my opinion. Now, like, is this still a good movie? Yes, there's a lot to love about this movie. I think there's definitely enough for me to, like, give it a good recommendation. Like, say, this is a solid thriller, and it's definitely a unique film in its own, even though it's definitely trying to be Tarantino, but it still has its own flavor to it. Like, it's inspired by, but not ripping off. Which is, like, I think is the best thing to say about it. I like Drew Goddard as a director. I think he makes some really good products. And I think he's a really good director. I think he really knows, he knows how to film a scene. He knows how to encourage actors. He knows what he wants out of actors. Sorry, I got distracted. This movie's sitting at a 72 on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I'd say that's a pretty good score, honestly. That's probably what I'd give it overall. Yeah, like, really solid directing, really stylish. A lot of stuff really does work fantastically, but that pacing and that pacing does not help the narrative overall, and the whole movie kind of suffers as a result. But yeah, I mean, I really can't discuss it more than that without going to spoilers. And this movie, I don't want to give everything away on it, because, like, yeah, I think you should go see it. I don't know, if you like The Hateful Eight, you'll probably like this one, I'd say. It's definitely in the same style. It still has its own identity. But it's definitely in a similar vein as The Hateful Eight or like another Tarantino movie, like maybe not Reservoir Dogs, maybe like a little Pulp Fiction mixed in with Hateful Eight. Pulp Fiction would be a good example on that of this actually. If the other storylines were just randomly mixed in with the main narrative, like if Pulp Fiction was all about Samuel L. Jackson and his partner and their storyline, and just at random you got cuts from Bruce Willis's side of things, that would be kind of like this movie. So it's a little clunky as far as that goes, but everything else really is fantastic. So I guess it just really depends on how much that's going to kill it for you. For me, it did more than I wanted to, but I still recommend it. I still think it's a good movie. I mean, I can't really think of what else to say beyond that. So it's probably like the most straightforward, concise review I've done in a while. I actually stayed on topic a lot more than I thought I was going to. I'm kind of impressed with myself on that. And the trailers are all stuff I got before, so I don't really see need to regurgitate. So, yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about Bad Times at El Royale. It's good, not great, should have been better, but I'm not mad that I saw it. You know, I'm still glad I made the effort to go see it. So, I think that's all I got for this one. I'm house sitting in Gilroy right now, so I'm going to try to at least see one movie before the week's over. So it's going to be either Goosebumps 2 or The First Man. Whatever I don't get to this week, I'll probably see next week. I think next week is Halloween and The Hate You Give, which I'll be able to see more freely, I think. So, next week's going to be pretty good. I'm not really looking forward to Goosebumps 2, although I heard the one's not as bad as you'd think it was going to be, so maybe it'll be like the first Goosebumps, I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got. So, sorry I didn't get as angry in this one. So I'll try to see if I can corral someone into the car with me for the next one, but if I'm by myself again, it's probably because I'm still not feeling great and I don't want to get anyone else sick. So, thank you guys for watching. See you later.